(6:45). This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Malarachi and read by Lavani Vijayatunga. First, we take a look at the headlines. The first charter flight carrying foreign tourists will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow. Sri Lanka's corona death toll has reached 187. The total count of infections has risen to 40,380. The President pledges relief to the farmers affected by the Sena caterpillar threat. Parliamentary meeting will begin on the 5th of next month. Construction work on the third stretch of the Central Expressway from Pothuhara to Galagedara is to be completed within 4 years. In news overseas, cases of new COVID-19 variant appear worldwide. Those were the headlines, and now move on to the details of the local news. The first charter flight carrying foreign tourists will arrive in Sri Lanka with 200 passengers from Kazakhstan tomorrow. The Tourism Ministry spokesman said these passengers will be arriving on the Kazakhstan flag carrier Air Astana to the Mattala airport. This follows the government lifting the ban on passenger charter flights to Sri Lanka to kickstart a tourism drive. Due to logistical reasons, the other flights will, however, arrive from the 29th of December. The Health Ministry says that a total of 598 cases of coronavirus infections have been identified within yesterday. Accordingly, the number of coronavirus cases reported in Sri Lanka has risen to 40,380 in total. Meanwhile, the number of total recoveries climbed to 32,051 as 712 patients were discharged from hospitals yesterday after complete recovery. Currently, a total of 8,142 infected patients are being treated at hospitals. Meanwhile, another death caused by coronavirus infection was reported yesterday. A 67-year-old man residing in an elders' home in Modara has succumbed to the virus. Accordingly, Sri Lanka's death toll from the virus has reached 187. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa pledges relief to the farmers who have been affected by the Sena caterpillar threat in the island. The president visited the farmers in Alayapattua in the Anuradhapura district yesterday and held discussions with the farmers. They expressed their grievances to the president. He also pledged to solve the human-elephant conflict in the area. This is the news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. And we continue with more local news. State Minister of Development of Minor Crops-Related Industries and Export Promotion, Janaka Vakkumbura, said that the government has decided to increase the export of agricultural crops from next year. Accordingly, plans have already been drawn up for the development of minor crops. Export of a wide range of crops including sugarcane, maize, cashew nuts, pepper, cinnamon, cloves, betel, indigenous mangoes and soursop will be increased. Accordingly, the area under cultivation of these crops has been increased, said the State Minister Janaka Vakkumbura. The government has also decided to produce and export pepper oil. The program is scheduled to begin in the first quarter of next year. The General Secretary of Parliament, Dhammika Dasanayaka, says that parliamentary meeting will begin on the 5th of next month. It has also been reported that several special draft bills are to be submitted to the Parliament. And to conclude the local news, the headlines once again. The first charter flight carrying foreign tourists will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow. Sri Lanka's corona death toll has reached 187. Total count of infection has risen to 40,380. The President pledges relief to the farmers affected by the Sena caterpillar threat. Parliamentary meeting will begin on the 5th of next month. Construction work on the third stretch of the Central Expressway from Pothuhara to Galagedara is to be completed within 4 years. And that was the local news.
Mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Vidya Mahatmya in every home.
story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The main news story for this morning, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa inaugurated the construction work on the third stretch of the Central Expressway from Pothuhera to Galagedara recently with a groundbreaking ceremony in Lihiniyagiriya in the Pothuhera Road. The 31-kilometre long Pothuhera-Galagedara stretch of the road will have 4 lanes and 4 interchanges including Pulgahavela, Rambukkana, Galagedara and Pothuhera. Construction work is expected to be completed within the next 4 years. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
In Watchlight this morning, police requested the people in isolated areas to adhere to quarantine rules and regulations and cooperate with the health authorities to conduct PCR tests. Police spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana said people in isolated areas are not allowed to leave those areas. That came to you in Watchlight, and now we move on to the headlines of the world news. Cases of new COVID-19 variant appear worldwide. Nashville explosion, businesses and celebrities pledge $315,000 reward. Chinese economy to overtake US by the year 2028 due to COVID. Those are the headlines, and now we move on to the details of the world news. Cases of the more contagious variant of COVID-19 first identified in the UK have been confirmed in several European countries as well as in Canada and Japan. Infections linked to people who arrived from the UK were reported in Spain, Switzerland, Sweden and France. A couple found infected in Ontario, Canada had no known travel history or high-risk contacts, officials say. Japan is to ban most non-resident foreign nationals from entering the country for a month from now. Businesses and TV personalities have offered more than $300,000 to catch those responsible for a camper van blast in the U.S. city of Nashville. The explosion rocked the city early on Christmas Day, injuring 3 people and knocking out communication systems across the state of Tennessee. Police believe the powerful blast was caused deliberately. A person of interest connected to the vehicle that exploded has been identified, CBS News reports. China will overtake the US to become the world's largest economy by the year 2028, 5 years earlier than previously forecast, a report says. The UK-based Centre for Economics and Business Research said China's skillful management of COVID-19 would boost its relative growth compared to the US and Europe in the coming years. Meanwhile, India is tipped to become the 3rd largest economy by the year 2030. And to conclude the world news, the headlines once again. Cases of new COVID-19 variant appear worldwide. Nashville explosion, businesses and celebrities pledge $315,000 reward. Chinese economy to overtake US by the year 2028 due to COVID. With that, we move on to development news. The government set up the State Ministry of Coconut, Kithul and Palmyra Cultivation Promotion and Related Industrial Product manufacturing and exports diversification. This is the first dedicated ministry for the Kithul industry and the industrialists who have been producing and marketing Kithul products. Industrialists and farmers say that the government should introduce commercial Kithul cultivation to boost the Kithul industry. Appreciating the government's initiatives to uplift the Kithul industry, they said that without large-scale Kithul plantations, the industry cannot be developed beyond its present cottage industry level. With that, we move on to sports news. Sri Lanka has scored 340 runs for the loss of 6 wickets for the first innings in the first Test cricket match against South Africa. Dinesh Chandima scored 85 runs and Dhananjay Silva scored 79. Today is the second day of the match. Sri Lankan head coach Mickey Arthur said that he is hopeful that his knowledge of the local conditions in South Africa can come in handy for Sri Lanka and has backed his pace attack to deliver the goods. That was the sports news. Business news up next. State Minister of Household Economy, Microfinance and Business Development, Shehan Semasinghe, said that the government will streamline the entire microfinance scheme and introduce a new system giving financial literacy to the main areas affected, especially the North, East, North Central and Nuwa provinces trapped in microfinance debt. He said the government will launch an awareness campaign on financial literacy next month. The government, through the Samurdhi banks and other government institutions, will provide microfinancing at much lower interest rate than the current rates. That was the business news. Economic news follows.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Hello, Puta, did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And in economic news, Sri Lanka's growth will return to medium-term trend levels of 3% to 4% in the year 2020-21, weighing up the various risks and government's economic response to the pandemic, said Senior Research Associate at the Overseas Development Institute in London, Dr. Ganeshan Vignaraja. He said there seems to be a consensus among forecasters that Sri Lanka's growth in the year 2020 will be negative and one of the worst years on record since the year 2000. Projections indicate that the country's growth will return to positive territory in the year 2021. That was economic news and the weather report to conclude.
Congratulations on your promotion. When will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally, the weather report. The Met Department says the showery condition over the northern, north central and eastern provinces is expected to enhance to some extent from today. Showers will occur at times in the northern, eastern, north central and Nuwa provinces and in the Mathale and Nuwara Eliya districts. And before we conclude this bulletin of news, let's get back to the headlines once again. The first charter flight carrying foreign tourists will arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow. Sri Lanka's corona death toll has reached 187. The total count of infections has risen to 40,380. The President pledges relief to the farmers affected by the Sena caterpillar threat. Parliamentary meeting will begin on the 5th of next month. Construction work on the third stretch of the Central Expressway from Pothuhera to Galagedara is to be completed within the 4 years. And in news overseas, cases of new COVID-19 variant appear worldwide. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news.